Okay, so hello everyone. I will be starting this session now. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 10D. I am Dhimahi Patel and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 10th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, London, United Kingdom. The 10th edition of this conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held on 18th February in London, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 19th to 21st February 2025. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations, and each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for the question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, please write it to me in the chat box. Now, before we start with the session, I would like to introduce you all to the chair for the session. We have with us Professor Jean Kurtzer. She is a senior lecturer at the Central University of Technology, South Africa. Her specializations are human machine collaboration, collaborative decision making, and human computer interaction design. Her research focuses on the intersection of Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0, smart cities, and the critical role of human involvement in smart manufacturing. I welcome you, ma'am, to the session, and I request you to share a few words you may have for the presenters here.
Thank you very much. Don't know if you can see me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and the privilege that I have for being chairing the sessions today. I would like to welcome all the participants and wish you good luck with your presentations. And yeah, it's a very nice, interesting and informative conference that we are experiencing. So thank you for the opportunity and all the best to the presenters. And yeah, we can start with the presentations.
Thank you, ma'am. We also have with us Dr. Swati Nikam as our session chair. Dr. Swati Nikam has total 20 years of teaching experience in computer engineering and is working as an associate professor of the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Engineering in Pimpri Chinchwad College of Engineering and Research. Her research areas are cyber physical systems, information security, and Internet of Things, and she has published over 30 papers in reputed international journals and conferences. I welcome you, Swati ma'am, and I request you to share a few words to everyone here.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Dhimahi. And good evening, everyone. This is evening in India. So good evening, everyone. And it's my privilege and honor to be present here in the conference as a session chair. It's a long association with GR, the team GR, rather, I should say. And more than 20 conferences I've attended as a session chair, right?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we will be
All the
beginning.
researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we will be beginning with the presentations. Coming first up is Vikas Shah. I would request him to present a study on deterministic framework of ethical AI in augmented lending services, addressing risk, governance, and equity. Vikas sir, are you present?
Yes, I'm here, and I'm trying to share the PPT. So, can you allow?
Yes, sir. You can share your PPT now. Please try it once again.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Can you see it, right?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Vikas Shah, and I'll be presenting the ethical AI in automated lending services, a deterministic framework approach. And what I would be covering is the introduction, challenges, why we came up with the deterministic framework and their components. We have developed the ethical AI governance lifecycle. We took the case study of the student and family lending services to evaluate the governance risk scoring. And finally, we would be representing the implementation challenges and future work besides the conclusion. Okay. So AI in automated lending services, it's transforming the credit assessment and loan originations. It's raising the significant ethical concerns since the AI is the reflection of some of the biases and the fairness and transparency which are into the in with the people, and they are the provider to the AI data sets, right? But the benefit of the AI are outstanding. It enhances the precision, efficiency, and scalability. Okay. Another challenge that AI is facing is the 10 billion in fraud losses, and it is driven by the AI into the lending services. Our purpose is to develop a structured approach and a DF for ethical AI in automated lending services. So essentially, first we have identified the AI-based lending services which are already in place, and what are the types of challenges they are facing, even after leveraging the AI, and why we need the deterministic framework to continuously evolve and improve. So 70% of the AI models exhibit biases. The women are 20% less likely to receive loans. And there are, AI has seen that 25% drop in accuracy during the economic instability, right? And there is a huge transparency concern. 60% of the lenders struggle with the explainability, why they are being approved, not approved, partially being approved. And finally, the challenge is the regulatory scrutiny. AI models and some of the regulatory requirements now, the EMOC and the even the landing, the regulations, they are concerned about the how AI is determining the decision-making accuracy into the models. To address these challenges and continuously evolve, we have developed the deterministic framework, and there are the 5 different layers of the this framework is data collections and processing, model development and validations, deployment and monitoring, governance and classification agent, and the ethical validator. And there are numerous dimensions being considered into the ethical validator. Now, this is the framework, and this framework has the specific elements that can address the biases or the fairness, transparency, all of those issues at each level, starting from the data collections from the various sources. It is going into the AI models to the its performance tracker, to the compliance and policies, and then there is a classification engine, which is we develop the governance behind it and the governance lifecycle. And the primary element over here is ethical risk classifier, and it receives the feedback from the different stakeholders, including the loan originator and the various stakeholders involved, even the banks, right? So we have that automated feedback loop identified and integrated within the data itself and reflecting into the ethical risk classifier. Okay. So once we have this deterministic framework and the layers, we have to follow the certain stages of the governance to make it more accurate, more precise. And what we have done is we have established the business processes with the risk awareness of the ethical or responsible AI. Then we establish the baseline benchmark. And the third step is the implement the risk classification. So we identified the these 8 types of risk: behavioral, economical, spiritual, social, right, functional, operational, data bias and fairness and transparency and explainability risk. along the our experimentations and the analysis. The next stage is aligned with the ethical standards and regulatory requirements. We have considered GDPR, ECOA, and CCPA to start with. And then the stage 5 is to address the equity concerning all this classification and the regulatory standards in consideration, so which is local, regional, and international, all three of them. And finally, it's a continuous process, right? So we identify the further subcategorization of the risk, and we have to insert that into this risk governance framework. Okay. So these are the primary ones that in our analysis that we have found it. And we moved on from the analysis to the empirical evaluations and the implementation. So in that, we took the student loan origination and credit risk assessment. And the challenge is like the whole student loan originations is increased, is now it's a 1.77 trillion just in the United States. And there are 15% default rate, right? What we are looking at into the student loan origination is the bias, exclusion of non-traditional applicant, and demographic disparities. Right? So what we have done is that to evaluate where the risk exists, what kind of risk exists, right? We have developed the scoring mechanism for each risk classification, and on based on the weighing, impact, and the frequency, right? So we have collected those data and put it into this scoring equation, and then eventually, based on the weighing, we identify the governance score for the whole entire lending process for the specific kind of set of data, I would say, right? So what you have done is that we have considered the 4 different activities, which is the application review, credit risk scoring, decision making, and loan pricing. So based on that, we identify which risk classification it is, what are the weighings, what are the impact overall, right? Because we were seeing this data for at least 4 to 5 years, right? And then what are the frequencies? So we collected those, frequency of occurrence, right, of that particular risk in the overall the loan origination and processing business process. So we took this business process, identified the activities, what are the tasks underneath, and put this analysis together from the 4 to 5 years of the data. What we have found out that our overall governance risk score is 3.42. However, when we introduced the fairness algorithm or change in fairness algorithm, we into the ethical dimension validator, right, into the framework. Then the GRS is improved by 27%, and we have seen that by doing that, the two specific, the task has the reduced kind of the frequency and the overall scoring, right? So we can see that the reflection into the specific risk classification. So that's how, by improving and accommodating some of the core feature and functionality or into the deterministic framework, we are able to improve the governance risk scoring. Okay. What it entails to is that overall, we have now streamlined the process of improving upon it and more adherence to the governance, risk, and regulatory requirements. Okay. However, we have seen that it's not straightforward to implement this whole life cycle in a framework because of the integrations, right? How one system talks to another system. There are legacy exist. Quality of the data is the concern. Now the stakeholder resistance to change, right? Because they have certain biases by themselves, and it is being reflected into the data that needs to be improved, right? So another factor we have seen that specifically in European regions is the regulatory requirements are changing, and accordingly, we have to adjust to the risk reclassification. So which is like previously it is being classified only in a, let's say, social domain. Then when there is a new regulatory requirements, new stakeholder inputs, we have to reclassify, and that iterates the whole feedback loop. So those are the challenges that we faced, and we are working upon it. In conclusion, we do believe that AI in ALS transform lending uh, introduces the ethical concern, and deterministic framework can ensure the fairness and accountability. Um, and the governance life cycle, it gives the alignment to the AI models, but also gives the benchmarking or baseline benchmarking to improve the overall the lending process for the banks, intermediaries, brokers, everybody involved into the overall process of the lending. Okay. Finally, we have collected those data. We have kind of or affirmatively confirmed with some of our findings with this of the areas, and we have referenced some of our work into into the publication. Okay. Most prominent is the Howell et al. And some of the data we received from the industry data provider FTC and the LexisNexis and CFPB. So those are the data we received from overall, like within the specific region, what kind of fraud, what kind of ethical issues that we are following. So those are our key references. Any questions?
Yes.
Thank you for the. Yes, can I ask a
ma'am.
question?
Please.
Thank you so much for your interesting presentation. I would just like to ask you, how does this proposed framework that you have, how will it ensure explainability and transparency in the AI-driven lending solutions, or is that included in your future work?
So yes, the future work includes the definitively the continuous fairness and transparency metrics, right? We have focused on the GRS, but our upcoming work would include the continuous fairness and transparency matrix. However, we have addressed that into the framework already. So if you look at it, right, we have created the dashboard and the feedback integration and optimizer. Then the fairness metrics visualizers, and the regulatory report generator. So those are the 4 components that we have it in transparency. The good part of this is we have automated those feedback into the data, right? So this feedback actually goes into the our data collection and pre-processing manager, right? So we have identified those dimensions already, right? The catch is that the fairness matrix and visualizer is still underway, right? So because we have the visual, like what we can see is that how many, let's say, gender basis or racial basis are being approved, right? But what we don't have is that whether it is being, what is the kind of a disparity rate, right? That's should be, right? That is not that. So it gives the actual numbers, but what should be, it does not give it. So that's the benchmark we are working on. So we can determine, right, how much transparent we are, but we don't know whether we are better than previous one or not, right? That is work in progress.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas Shah, for wonderful presentation. I have one question. Like NIST has also proposed similar kind of framework. So does your framework has any similarities with that? I mean, differences, similarities. Have you gone through it?
We looked at the NIST.
Yeah.
In NIST framework is more generic, I would say, because it gives the at the larger scale, not for the specifically automated landing services, right? Our framework is based on the specific regulatory requirements and the niche level of the activity that we perform um, the automated landing services. So, for instance, right, it does not go into the kind of what are the social risks associated and how do we measure for the automated landing services, right? So that's the distinction between the NIST. Yes, we have looked at the NIST, but we are very specialized in ALS.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
All right. Yeah, thank you for listening. And I enjoyed presenting. I enjoyed looking at others' publication as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, next up, I would like to call Artem to present their study on I am OK, a compact connector for non-prohibition proofs to privacy-preserving applications.
Hello, could you see me? It's
Yes,
here. Okay. Uh, can you please give me? Yeah. Just a second. Okay. Now, okay. Can you see the presentation?
you can see your screen.
Okay. I just want to present our paper. I am okay about a compact connector for non-prohibition proofs to privacy-preserving applications. Our paper is about to make if, for example, we have some list of prohibited people, and we have some privacy-preserving D-app, and our paper describes how we can forbid people from participating in our D-app and like how this could be done. Okay, first of all, I want to present our plan. First of all, I want to share with a bit background with as zero knowledge proofs and sparse Merkle trees. Then I will show you an example of such app as Freedom Tool and Realmo Identity, which Freedom Tool is a voting scheme which was used like an opposition voting scheme in Russia when they had their voting for the president. And Realmo Identity, it's like the following identity scheme. It allows you to connect your passport data with your private and public key, and like you will have your own identity, digital identity based on your passport, but without revealing any of your personal information, which is in passport. And then I will show you how to extend this proof an example of OFAC sanction lease. So let's move on. First of all, I want to tell you about zero knowledge proof. Imagine you have some mathematical statement, and I want to prove that I know some witness for some public data but I don't want to share my witness. So there are such schemes like, for example, gross 16 or Plonk, which allows you to make such proof that is efficiently verifiable. So this is a proof of knowledge, some witness V, W for some public data X, and that X and V satisfy some mathematical statement. Could be any mathematical statement, but it should be presented in some way, like. But most of such ways it could be done to present in special way every mathematical relation. Okay. And also I want to present you such structure as sparse Merkle tree. This is structure which allows you to make inclusion and exclusion proofs from some set. If such set is very big, and it allows you to make very efficient proofs that are in logarithmic size and logarithmic time. Such structure as sparse-Merkle tree allows you to efficiently add new leaves to the tree, also delete it, change leaves, and as I've already said, it allows you to make inclusion and exclusion proofs. So yeah, let's move on. Then I want to tell you about freedom tool and random identity. Like it's freedom tool, as I've said, it's a passport-based anonymous voting scheme. And first of all, I want you to tell how biometric passport works. Each biometric passport has some machine-readable zone, and you can scan it with your phone and receive data from the passport. Such data include some data groups and security document object. Such data groups could include your personal information, like your photo, like your name, surname, nationality, age, and like other information. Also, there are some data groups that has their authentication key pair, with which you could verify that your passport is legit. So ICAO posted a list of public keys that could sign passport, and we can verify that passport was signed by some authority, and we can verify it, and we will use this to make our identity. Here I want to present you some data groups. Like data group 1 is a data group that stores your basic information, like name, surname, passport number, expiration date, and like issue and authority. Security document object includes an encapsulated content which like contains hashes of all data groups. So you could verify that information in passport is exactly that the information which is presented in the document security object. So it contains all the hashes of all the data groups, so it could be easily verified that passport data is valid. And DG15 is a data group which keeps information about active authentication. So it keeps your public key of the passport, and it could manage your with your passport secret key for signing some challenges, but you can't reach this secret key directly, just like to that other people won't be able to steal your information. Okay, so how works digital identity works based on passport? We can scan and store passport data in our mobile phone by reading machine readable zone that I've said before. Then I generate my own key pair in some blockchain. It could be Ethereum or Solana chain or like other chain. And then I create a commitment to my passport data. This commitment will then be needed to verify that our passport data is exactly taken from our passport. And then we should generate zero knowledge proof of passport validness. So we can validate that each passport is valid. So it was given by some authority. To validate that, we've previously created a sparse Merkle tree of all possible authorities who could sign your passport, and person should make an inclusion proof of the issuer that issued a passport, that signed a passport, so you can in such way validate your passport. And also you should validate that your data group commitment was created rightly. Then you send this zero knowledge proof to the smart contract, and it verifies it and adds your identity to new sparse Merkle tree. So we will call it identity tree. So now you've registered your identity and can use it in any way. So because DG commitment does not reveal any information about yourself, so you don't need to, so you won't send any of your personal information to the blockchain. Okay, and now how we could vote. Now, when our information is stored in our mobile phone, we can generate a zero knowledge proof that we have certain nationality, that our age is bigger than 18, or like another number which is for certain country,
Excuse
that
me,
our
sir.
passport.
Just
What?
a gentle reminder, I'm sorry for interruption, but your 10-minute mark has passed.
Okay. Then that passport is not expired, and DG commitment is in identity sparse Merkle tree, and we create a unique nullifier and our word and send it to the blockchain, and then we add our nullifier and vote to the list, so we can check that our vote was counted, and nullifier gives us an opportunity to prevent double voting. Okay, now we want to extend such proof with sanctioned people list. So firstly we need to parse data and create a new sparse Merkle tree, which includes some personal data of the forbidden people. And now we extend our eligibility proof with proof that like function of our personal data is not stored in this SMT. So now we can prove that we are not like forbidden person. But such scheme could have some problems, like for example, when people have the same name, the same surname, and they could be added to the so we could have some collisions in tree. So for this, we could add birthday, and those people would be divided to the function. But when we don't know birthday of the person who is in sanction list, such information, such person won't be added to the tree, so he will be able to participate in voting. For example, for different applications, we could version our tree depending on our purpose. So we could add a construct function like a hash of name and surname and some identification number, or a name, surname, and date of birth, depending on how much people from sanction list we wanna add. Also, it could be name, surname, nationality, or other function. And like for each identifier, we could add many leaves to the tree and use certain identifier to create eligibility for proof for certain reason. But we have solution for OFAC sanction list. We've seen that many people in this list has their year of birth, but not all. And therefore, for people who don't have their year of birth, we add many leaves, like 100, for each possible year of birth, like in range of 100 years. So any people from the sanction list won't be able to participate in voting. Such way reduces collisions, but still, when people have the same name and surname and date of year of birth of certain person in sanction list is not known, he won't be able to participate in voting. But it's still better than just add name and surname. So yeah, thank you for your attention.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for him?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you for a very insightful and interesting presentation. It sounds really complicated, so all the best with your work further on.
I have one question. Yeah, I have one question. My question is like, what are the computational challenges in the implementation of this IMOC? Have you faced any computational challenge or limitation?
Okay. To make, for example, an proof of like that my passport is valid, probably it will take you about 3 to 5 minutes on your phone to generate such proof and then to verify it on smart contract. Verification is fast, but generating proof could be some bottleneck. So now it takes about from 3 to 5 minutes, but we currently working on like how to make such proof faster and still not to lose like your privacy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Artem.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you too.
Now, next, I would like to request Brian Mautza to present their study on labeling scheme for agricultural Internet of Things (AIoT) devices.
Thank you. Thank you. Good Afternoon. Where I am, it's afternoon, almost going to evening. I'm in South Africa. Thank you
Hello,
very
sir.
much for the opportunity. So I'm going to present our research on the labeling scheme that we proposed for IoT devices. So I'm trying to just locate my document. Okay, maybe let me share the whole screen. Can you confirm if you are now seeing, oh, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong slide. Sorry for the mix up. Please confirm if you are seeing my presentation in slideshow format.
Yes, sir, we can see your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. So our research is on labeling scheme for IoT devices. Okay, so this is the agenda. I'm just gonna present a brief overview of the research and bit of some background. Then we'll also talk about the research methodology. I'll briefly talk about why do we need labels for IoT devices. I also talk about the NIST approach to labeling scheme. So the NIST approach to labeling scheme and the Google principles of IoT security, they formed part of the basis or provided guidelines in the development of the IoT labels, IoT labels that we proposed in this session. Then we also present the labels that we proposed. So we are saying in today's world, for us today to be here is because a farmer tilled the land and we ate something for us to be here today. So we need to thank the farmers who are making us alive. But there is a challenge that farmers are now facing, that world population is growing. People are giving birth every day. So land is now a problem for farmers, right? Agricultural land is shrinking day by day because if you check, for example, where I'm coming from, I cannot even recognize the town where I grew up in because it has expanded. They have expanded everywhere into the agricultural land. So you can think about the next coming 20, 30 years. It means it will be difficult for farmers to get agricultural land. So now to bridge that gap, they are now implementing technologies, right? They're using different technologies. For example, artificial intelligence. You talk about big data analytics, and also they're using agricultural Internet of Things. So the agricultural Internet of Things is just a term that we tried when we were doing our research to try to say the Internet of Things that are being used in agriculture, we can call them in IoT. So for example, you're looking at your moisture sensors, your greenhouse monitoring devices. You're also looking at your GPS tracking for your livestock, right? Those are some of the examples of IoT devices that are being used by farmers. But in using those IoT devices, there are cybersecurity challenges which they can face. Right, there are cybersecurity challenges which farmers face on a daily basis. For example, you look at a farmer who is having, say, maybe 10,000 square meters of greenhouses, right? The greenhouses are being monitored by a system. The system has got some IoT devices or temperature monitoring devices. So if a cyber attack happens in that farm, it means challenges are high that the food supply chain will be affected. Okay, so we are saying what we then come to party, what we are proposing that we need to help farmers so that when they are buying devices, when they are purchasing devices, it makes it easy for them, right? So the idea behind this was informed by the fact that farmers in their daily life, they are used to buying chemicals or fertilizers, or for example, chemicals. I am a farmer myself. So when you're buying chemicals, you look at labels of the device to see how is this chemical effective. For example, there's a green label. It means the green label, you can use it for household food, and the period after which you can consume your produce is very short. Then you have got the amber, you know that this is a bit dangerous. Then you have got the red one. You know that if a chemical label has got red, it means it's dangerous. You need to make sure that you handle it with care. So that's the same idea that we say now, because farmers are now buying this device on a daily basis. Some of them, they don't have the technical knowledge. You are looking at small scale farmers, or farmers which are coming up, for example, in the South African context, right? So you want to, we proposed a labeling scheme that can help them to make decisions. Just to say, when they see, they just see buy. It's unlike someone who has with cybersecurity knowledge to say they need to know all of this. We just see, try to present a labeling scheme that can present cybersecurity knowledge in abstract format, in simple ways in which farmers, they already understand. That the background behind this. So the method that we use the design science approach, where we say it aims, the design science aims to construct a new reality by developing a reliable knowledge and a valid knowledge for a solution design. That's what we use when we're developing the labels. So we then tried to do a review of what is already existing. So we saw that NIST, they proposed labeling scheme for general IoT devices, right? For general IoT devices. Okay, so we then looked at what is NIST proposing, so that whatever NIST is proposing, we use it to inform the development of our proposed labels. So, for example, they say, how are the labels? How are we supposed to label the IoT devices? Right, that's guideline number one. Number two, they say how the IoT label should be represented. For example, it can be represented in digital format, or it can be printed and the label is stick on the device. Then we are saying the NIST also provide a guideline that the label should provide a robust education, right? Robust consumer education. That when they read the label, just like all the labels that we read when you are buying something, obviously you look at a label. For example, you're buying even some flu medicine. You read the label to, maybe you want to see the expiry date, or those kind of things. Okay. Then Google, they also have got some principles which they propose. They say it should be active, the label should have credibility, then also the issues around transparency, should allow for variation and change, then stakeholder support. So these are some of the guidelines which were provided. So these guidelines, they then informed us. We then tried to look to say, are there any other researchers which who did something? So there was a Singapore, there was also research by PEPFAS et al. They also proposed some labeling schemes. So we then with all that, we then proposed our own design principles for the label that we proposed. So we say the label, the principle number one is principle of identification. So we can say the label should help farmers to identify. Then we are saying it should be active and education. We are saying the label should have a QR code, right? That when a farmer scans it, it should lead them to a certain repository where it provides further education about that label. Then we're saying the label should be as simple and straightforward, so that it's not difficult for farmers to understand. Okay, so this is the high level presentation of the proposed label. We're saying the label should have a name, a background color, and a QR code, right? So the background color would just presented by amber, red, amber, and green. So those are the three labels that we propose to say if a label device has got a red label, it means it has got limited cyber security mechanisms. When it's amber, it's medium. Then a green one, which means it provides the best cyber security for the farmers. Obviously, the purchase decision is not determined by that only. The cost implication of that is also comes into play. But at least we are saying this is a starting point where farmers can know that, yes, I'm purchasing this device of lower cost, but chances are high that I'll be exposed to cyber attacks. Okay, so these are the criteria that we used to determine the level of security. We say verify third party, the ability for a device to receive updates, ability to change login credentials. Does the device provide end-to-end encryption, anti-tamper mechanism, adjust signal processing, and also non-repudiation capability? So these are the metrics that we use, or the criteria that we use to determine. So we are saying, hypothetically, we are saying if a device meet all these criteria or meet at least a certain number, right? The device, we can say that it's in the green range. It's in the green range. So we were using what is called the weighted approach in weighting all this information. If you want to learn more, how did we come up with this, and also to determine which one is red, which is amber, you can refer to the paper that we submitted. So these were the proposed label to see you have got a green, amber, and red. So we are saying if a label is green, it means it's offering best cybersecurity mechanism for farmers. Then amber, yes, it's medium. Then red ones, it means they have got lesser cybersecurity mechanisms. So a farmer can decide to say, I'm going for the green. Yes, it will be expensive, but I know that I'm going for the best. So basically, that's it. Then the future research of the proposed model is try and go to the farmers, right? We want to try and implement, we'll try to go to the farmers and check whether this proposed scheme can actually work in the actual farm environment. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, was our research paper. I leave this if there are any questions.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you so much, Brian, for that presentation. I would just like to know what challenges do you foresee in implementing this proposed labeling scheme?
I think the challenge will be acceptability from the farmers. That's one of the challenges that you would face. You know, people, they've got something which they are used to. So maybe we were thinking that going forward is an issue of lobbying for buy-in from maybe policymakers or those who make decisions, right? Then you have buy-in so that they can actually lobby to say the devices should have this kind of labeling scheme to help farmers. So I believe the issue of change, just people from changing what they're used to, is one of the challenges that we anticipate.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for that.
All right, thank you, Prof. You know, when I saw your name, Prof. Kotsia, I thought
Yes?
of I thought of when I was starting to apply for my PhD. The prof who gave me the place was Prof. Kotsia. So I thought maybe it was you at the University of Johannesburg.
No, I am at the Central University of Technology.
All right, all right.
Thank
I know.
you. Thank you,
All
Brian.
right, all right. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for him?
Yes, I have one question for Brian. Thank you,
Thank
Brian, for
you.
wonderful presentation. I have one question. Like, does it happen it is falsely, categorized in some
Sorry,
different,
sorry.
uh,
May you come again?
like, depending on the level of security, you have categorized them, right?
Yes, we categorize them
Right.
depending on the
But
level of security.
in your research, have you come across, like, it is falsely categorized? Although the security is low, but it is, coming into strong security zone, like something like that means falsely accepted or falsely rejected. Does that happen?
I think I did not come across that. Maybe something that we also need to look into. You know, sometimes it's something you may not come across it, but while this is existing, so it's something that maybe we can actually do as part of further research to expand um, this idea.
Yeah, because there's a thin line in, these different categories. So sometimes it may happen like it is no falsely got categorized into different levels.
yeah, it's something that we actually need to look at further to analyze further on how best we can actually incorporate that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ban, for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues, for the questions. Thank you for the organizers of the conference. I'm proud of this platform. It has given me the opportunity to showcase the research work that we are doing. Thank you so much.
Can you stop sharing your screen, please, sir?
Okay, yeah, I stopped sharing.
Thank you. Now, next up, we have Asma Burdig to present her study on systematic mapping study of wireless communication technologies in in-vehicle network. Ma'am, are you present? I repeat, Asma, are you present here? Is any of the co-authors of the paper present here? Okay, we will move to the next presentation. I would like to call Esther Njala to present her study on Towards a Cybersecurity Culture Framework, a literature review of awareness and behavioral transformation in telecommunications organizations. Esther, are you present?
Yes, I'm present. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me share my screen. My name is Esther, as I have been already introduced. I'm here to present my research. We are the group of authors for this paper, and I assume maybe my co-authors are already in the session. But my presentation for today is about the literature review on the awareness and behavioral transformation in telecommunication organization. So the table of content in this presentation, I will touch base on the background of this study, the problem statement of what actually is happening in the space, the objective of this research, and then I will also touch a little bit on the theoretical framework that contributed to this study. And then we highlight the opportunities and the challenge, and also the proposed framework, which is an outcome for this study, and then my conclusion. So the background of this study, it's really come up as our topic is within the space of cybersecurity culture. And then here we are just highlighting that there is an increase in reliance on the digital technology, and also the landscape that is changing how organizations are operating. And because of the dependency in technology, the technology has also introduced new vulnerabilities. So I'm also here to just touch a base to say, because this study was made into telecommunication, at the time of this study, we have also discovered that telecommunication is one of the critical service provider, which is enabling the connection around the globe. Therefore, the amount of data telecommunication sectors or organizations are handling are quite huge, where the target of the cyber threat are also targeting this organization. So in having that said, in this study, we are just saying that a strong cybersecurity culture is essential, because it will be the one that will protect the sensitive data, the critical infrastructure, and this is only achieved if we have a good awareness and also foster the accountability and the protective security behavior among all the users in organization. So this study have a problem statement which says, in why they say technological defenses are essential, we cannot remove the human factor in the ecosystem. And such as a human error and the lack of awareness, these are the key contributor to the cyber breach that have been also referenced by researchers like Brown during 2020. So the objective of this research, we embarked on to examine the behavior theory that are underpinning the cybersecurity culture. And then we also identified the opportunities and challenges that experience in cultivating the cybersecurity awareness within organizations. And also this study aimed to propose a structured framework to embed cybersecurity practice within organizations. So there are a lot of theoretical framework are available. However, with this study, we have focused on the behavioral theory that will enable us to adapt and integrate the cybersecurity policy into organization culture. So the four theory were selected because they are really like a gateway to improve the space of cybersecurity awareness, which is the social cognitive theory, the protection motivation theory, the theory of planned behavior, and the technology acceptance model. So these are the ones that we found they are working closer to what we want to come up with as a framework. So going deeper a little bit on this theory, we have also learned that if we apply this specific theory, we realize that the best approach will be a top-down approach, where we start with the social cognitive theory, which is more of looking at the environment where the environment where one as an employee within an organization will be able to learn and also be able to adapt to the change within the organization. And then once we have that, to say it's a well set up environment for one to learn, we can now move into the stage of protection motivation theory, where we also realize that when one is applying that theory, it allows the user to be able to assess the likelihood of impact. For example, one would be able to say, what if my account is hacked? Then they will also start to realize that maybe I should even make my password stronger. So that one is also a good theory that can embed it well into the culture for organization. And then we move to the theory of planned behavior, which is also providing the insight of why individual might or may not engage into protective behavior. So in this case, we realize that if one apply this theory, it will kind of able to predict when the user are willing to comply or not to comply with the policy. And then they're advising you one to come up with a better solution to address that. And then the last one is the technology acceptance model, which addresses the technology acceptance. So having said that, we realize that for one to integrate this theory into the organizational culture, it will be important that if you apply it from a top-down approach, you have a logical progression from the general human behavior principle, going to the focused theory on security behavior for any employees, and then later moving into the technology acceptance to say, am I able to use this maybe technology much better? Then we also realized that as much as we have the framework to put in place, there are some opportunity that one can apply within an organization. And this opportunity are actually outlined here to say leadership commitment is one of the key components that will contribute to the cybersecurity culture within an organization. And at this point, it's when you have the leader that are visible, allocating budget, prioritizing the training for the employees, and also able to enable the operation on a daily basis to address the challenge of security issues. Then the second one is employee engagement and awareness. This is one of the issues that have come out during our study, where it highlighted that most of the employees, they feel that organizations are not doing much to engage them. And in this case, we are pointing to say one of the area opportunities for the training program and the workshop to be offered, and it will really enable the employees to be self-defensive or become the defender for the organization. So the training and the continuous learning, it's also one of the key components where, for example, you have your IT profession that they will need a certain level of expertise and the knowledge to be able to manage the security challenges on a daily basis. So collaboration and the communication is also one of the areas that need to be addressed, where cross-departmental teamwork can also help the people to be able to adapt and do well, or be able to communicate and collaborate within the organization. And then lastly, the other area that come out very strong is recognition and incentives. Employees that are feeling that even if I complete this awareness program, I still feel the organization can give me a reward so that I will still be motivated. So these are the areas that this study will also look into to make sure that the end product of this research will include all these key components. So while we have the opportunity to improve this, the gray area that have been highlighted by this study, it's also the challenge that come with this cybersecurity culture. One of the key points is the challenge to change. In this case, employees are really hesitant to do awareness, and they feel sometimes that this is a responsibility for IT or information technology. So in our research, why we are saying this is a change, our approach or our recommendation would be the leadership-driven culture shifting and transfer with a transparent communication would be able to change the resistance to change. Then a resource constraint to say, yes, indeed, not all organizations are doing well, although they want to be safe. In case of a smaller organization that are struggling with the funding, we are also saying that the solution would be they should consider to use the free training tools, consult internal experts. They also able to collaborate with maybe regulatory bodies, or those that are able to give them awareness or to give them a program that can bring in awareness into their organization so that they are not left behind. And then the other challenge is also the regulatory complex in this sector, which is the compliance is really a challenge nowadays. And if one did not comply, then you have to deal with the penalty. So multiple industry standards exist, but they are not really aligned with a specific sector or organization policy. So we are saying in that sense, it will be great to develop an adaptable framework that is aligned to a specific sector requirement, such as the one for European Technology Standard Institute and the one for GSMA. Then with
I'm
this
sorry
study,
for, I'm sorry for interruption, ma'am, but you've crossed your 10-minute mark. So I would request you to please wind up your presentation soon now.
thank you. So the study have then proposed the cybersecurity culture framework, which have now the component that have been highlighted in the previous slide to say the leadership engagement will be one of them, continuous training, enforcement, employee motivation, and also adaptive security strategies. The other thing is also the implementation strategy that we have highlighted in this study that will be able to guide the organization to enable their cybersecurity culture to be at a better level. So in the conclusion, we're just highlighting that a strong cybersecurity culture requires a behavior reinforcement, education, and leadership commitment, and organizational challenge through the structured framework and enhance resilience. So the further research direction, it's for us to say empirical validation of the proposed framework will be required, and then the specific sector case study to refine this cybersecurity culture or model should then be embarked on going forward. So the takeaway is that the organization should shift from reactive security measures to proactive culture-embedded cybersecurity practices. And then I thank you. Any question?
Yes, I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Doctor.
thank you, ma'am, for the presentation. Now, how would you set the benchmark in the assessment of this framework?
Sorry, come again.
How would you set the benchmark for the assessment of this framework? I mean, this was a theoretical study which was presented. Now this would be implemented. So how to set the benchmark for the assessment?
I'm not so sure if I'm getting your question, but are you asking how this framework will be benchmarked to the existing framework?
Yes.
Okay, there are existing framework already, but those one are not really specific to the sector. And this one, the purpose of this one is really to bring it closer. Like I said, it was a case study based on a telecommunication. So to benchmark this one, we would want to look at the telco industry or sector, and then compare what is already exists as a framework, bringing it closer to the specific of the telco.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Professor
Welcome.
Ji, do you have any questions for her?
I just wanted to know introduced a lot of behavioral theories.
Yes.
Have you found any of these shaping the employees' cybersecurity behaviors? Which one was the most impactful or positive?
The very impactful one, it's the theory for planned behavior together with the technology acceptance model.
Okay.
Those one are the two
Why
ones
would you
that
say that?
I would say this because the first one, it's more looking at when you have the theory of planned behavior,
Hello?
it will be able. Hello? Did I lose the connection?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Sorry. Yes. Yes, the connection broke up.
Oh, okay. Let me start over then. I was saying the theory of planned behavior, it's come out more stronger because it's more predicting the behavior of the employees, which will influence to say, for example, these employees, when, for example, I want to put it in a practicality to say, if I send out the awareness video for the employees to complete, I will definitely be able to see those ones that will complete those assessments before the time, and those ones that will need a reminder and will only then act after. So it kind of giving me the prediction to say what type of employees I'm dealing with and what other approach I can use to make sure that they are aligned. While the one for acceptance of the technology, it's more of the one that is giving the employees the easiness to say, how easy am I able to use this tool?
Thank you very much. Good
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Patela.
Now, next up, I would like to call Amna Altaf to present her study on Train the Trainer, empowering educators with practical AI and robotic skills through the CDIO framework.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. This is Amna Altaf, and today I'm going to present to you the findings of my research work, Train the Trainer, Empowering Educators with AI and Robotics through CDIO framework. Firstly, I would like to present the overview of our study. The objective is actually to develop a structured training model that will help the educators to use AI and robotics in their education field. We actually implemented the CDIO framework to enhance the hands-on learning. I'll explain that in a bit. The methodology that we use is that we conducted a pilot workshop with educators using a custom off-the-shelf robot called the keyboard. We designed interactive sessions covering AI and robotics, and then as a result of this, we reached to some key findings that help educators to improve the field of AI and robotics. So first of all, we have to discuss the importance of AI. We have to discuss the importance of training educators in AI and robotics. We all know that AI and robotics education is growing, but still there are challenges. Firstly, there are traditional learning methods that focus on lecture-based, classroom-based teachings, but recently hands-on experiences and learning activities like projects-based activities actually help the students to understand better. Next, we identified the research gap in the area. Many educators do not have structured training programs. Also, practical applications in the classroom are missing. Finally, there are challenges like teachers often lack hands-on experience in this domain, and training programs are really limited. And many schools need low-cost, scalable tools. There are issues that can be addressed by improving AI, and that can be used to improve the AI and robotics education. To conduct our research work, we use the CDIO framework. CDIO framework actually stands for Conceive, Design, Implement, and Operate. This actually follows a structured approach to improve the teaching model. CDIO framework is a hand-on experience and a way to teach AI and robotics learning. It has 4 key stages. First, conceive, where educators and students identify the key problems and think of possible solutions. This step actually encourages creativity and critical thinking in the students. Next is design phase. In design, they actually plan AI and robotics-based projects, deciding what tools or methods they will use, and this will help them to develop structured problem-solving skills. Then we have the implement stage where students build and integrate hardware and software that they turn their ideas into real working systems. Finally, we have the operate stage where they test their solutions and find mistakes and improve them. This helps them learn like through trial and error. CDIO framework is actually a very practical and engaging way that's already being used in engineering, and that makes AI and robotics education more practical and engaging. So then we designed a workshop for the trainer to train the educators. This workshop was titled as Practical Applications in Education and based on CDIO framework. We covered various topics in it, and we actually designed structured session to cover key AI and robotics topics step by step. In this workshop, the key element was that we used the custom off-the-shelf robot, the keyboard. The keyboard is actually a hands-on platform to learn and develop, AI and robotics activities, particularly in the context of autonomous systems. This allows students to build and program and test small self-driving cars in simulated urban environment, which is Ducky Town in our case. This provides a practical way to understand the concepts like computer vision, path planning, and control system through real-world applications. Here are a few parts of the keyboard, as you can see in the image as well. So we have the chassis, which is the top plate, bottom plate, and the side plates, and support hut. That is overall chassis of the keyboard. Then we have wheels. We have 2 omni wheels and a front wheel. We have a few sensors like camera, time to flight sensor, inertial measurement unit IMU, and the wheel encoders. We also have power supply, that is the ducky battery. The other parts include the motor mount, front bumper, back bumper, screen. As you can see in the image, we have the shutdown button as well, Wi-Fi dongle, and all the typical elements of any room. This is how the ducky board looks at the end when we assemble it. The ducky board is designed to be relatively simple because of the setup and programming, it makes it suitable for the beginners, and it can be used for a wide range of skills and levels. So we choose it for our workshop. Using Duckyboard in the CDIO framework is an excellent opportunity because it helps because of its structure itself. So firstly, there's a conceive step in which the keyboard introduces real-world AI and robotics challenges and encourage the problem identification and creative solutions from the participants. Next, we move to the design phase, where we provided an interactive environment for designing AI-driven applications. This actually helped the educators to structure AI and robotics experiments more effectively. Next, we move to the implement stage, where we allow the hands-on coding system integration and real-time robotics experiment. This bridges the theoretical knowledge with the practical application. Finally, we move to the operate stage, where we enable testing, debugging, refinement of the AI-driven robotics function. This actually simulates the industry-relevant applications in a controlled environment. These are the titles of our workshop modules. We divided workshop into 9 modules. We have the self-driving and autonomy modules, which help the students to understand how AI enables the vehicles to navigate through human control. Then we have modules related to robotics and vision and object detection. These modules actually help the students and the future trainers to teach machines to see and recognize objects in their environment. Then we have the state estimation, localization, and reinforcement, where we explore how robots understand their position and how they learn from different interactions. We also have this planning and control module, where we actually develop strategies for robots to move and complete the task more efficiently. Once the workshop design is complete, we have the robot in place. Then we conducted this workshop. And as a result of this workshop, we also conducted a survey. And in this survey, we had like 25 questions, and we had the response rate of around 75% from the participants. And we in this basically, we tested the content effectiveness of the workshop, the facilitator effectiveness, and the confidence in AI and robotics teaching that the participants felt after attending the workshop, and how good they understand the good understanding of CDIO framework they actually had after attending the workshop. I'll present to you the results in a few slides, and these results actually highlight the success of our workshop in engaging AI and robotics education for the educators. So these were the responses regarding different modules. How do they understand different modules? Then how do they rate our workshop? And then this is the individual module ranking and response of the participants around the hands-on activities and other activities around the CDIO framework. We actually find out that the educators who attended the workshop, they had increased confidence in AI and robotics teaching. They also get the benefit from the hands-on activities, which enhance their learning experience. And also they gave the feedback that the ready-to-use lesson plans, they can develop them with the help of the learning that they took out from the workshop. We also identified a few challenges, like maybe we needed a little better time allocations in the session and more visual aids in designing the workshop tools, and maybe step-by-step breakdown could have been more advantageous. Overall, the Train the Trainer workshop that we conducted successfully empowered the educators. And the CDIO framework basically is really helpful in learning-based model and prove effective for AI and robotics education. And future initiatives, we have some future initiatives to expand this, because the trainers that took training from our workshop will go back to their countries, and they will implement them in their universities and set up. And then we plan on getting the data from the larger audience and then map it on the data that we have already collected. That's it. This is my contact information, and this project is actually funded by British Council Funding Support System, and we have various universities that collaborated for this project. If there's any question, I would love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amna. Ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
Thank you, Amna, for that very interesting presentation. It's really insightful and I enjoyed that presentation. I would just like to ask you, how does the CDO framework, how can it teachers' abilities to integrate the AI and robotics? Can you hear me? My internet connection is a bit unstable.
Yeah, if I hear you correctly, you wanted to ask how CDIO framework helps in the AI and robotics domain for the teachers. Am I right?
Yes, compared to traditional training methods.
Okay, so CDIO framework is an established framework that is used in engineering actually, because it we doesn't jump directly to teaching and by showing how the robot work and stuff. So in CDIO framework, we actually help the students to first conceive the idea, then design and look into designing option, then implementing. So all these stages, and then finally the operate stage in which they test and then get the feedback of how their robot is working. So this framework is actually on the basis of the pedagogy principles of teaching. This framework is really interesting, and because we actually conducted this workshop to see the response of the learners by traditional methods which they were already using. So we conducted this workshop by using the CDIO framework and see how their learning changed. And we see a significant difference in that because of their feedback of how they are performing now back at work.
Yes, thank you. I could see that was quite a significant positive response from the teachers. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you for listening.
Swati ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
No questions, Amna. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Amna, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we reach the conclusion of this, I would like to give one last call to Asma Burdick to present her study, or any of her co-authors who are present right now. All right. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 10th version and all the previous 9th versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 11th version in 2026. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICICT 2025. I would also like to thank Professor Jean Kodzer for chairing this session, extending a token of appreciation on behalf of Team ICICT 2025 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. Ma'am, I would request you to share any closing remark you may have for everyone here.
Thank you very much for that, Patel. That was nice to be chairing a session for you, and the presentations was really interesting and insightful. And I wish you all the best with your research going forward. And I was happy to see that there were some presenters from South Africa as well. So it was a privilege to be part of the conference for this year, and I look forward to seeing you all next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I would also like to thank Dr. Swati Nikam, ma'am, for chairing this session. I'm sharing a token of gratitude for your valuable presence, ma'am. And please share any closing remark you may have for the presenters here.
Yes, thank you, Dimai, and thank you all the researchers for presenting your wonderful research, on a variety of topics and to a different depth also. So please continue your research and please keep contributing for the betterment of society. That's what I would like to say. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, before we conclude this session, I kindly request you all to switch on your camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. All right, thank you everyone. Have a great day ahead and take care all.